Good day and welcome to episode 8 of my Iratus beginners playthrough. So today, as I have promised you, we're going to introduce the Lost Soul. One of the most strange units you'll see well, at first glance it looks like a very strange unit, I gotta say. So every single skill of the Lost Soul has some sort of buff for the enemy or some sort of downside for your own allies, which is looking weird at the first moment, but I'm going to show you, or you're even going to understand along the way what that'll mean. So first off, we're having the Inspire Heroics, a stress damage skill to 2 targets, one up front getting pulled 1 square ahead and 1 behind him, and the target gains accuracy until the end of battle. Next up is a heal for your ally, but he'll get slapped for magic damage afterwards in the next turn by the Lost Soul. We're having another magic damage skill which buffs the target with a 15% more damage buff. We're having an AoE skill which buffs up the initiative of the enemies, and we're having a buff for our own allies which brings 2 units of ward but reduces the damage by 20% for the next 2 actions. But there's already one interaction I want to point out. Ward is shielding off magic damage, and as you can see here, Benevolent Spirit and Dubious Boon are working together already. And last off, Sudden Reality, stripping all buffs and debuffs from your enemies, and the allies gain 1 damage until the end of the battle for each buff or debuff removed. So, first off, the Lost Soul is able to disrupt all the boons the enemy got from him, or her, well, I think her. And on the other side, your people get buffed by doing so. So that's the basic dynamic for the Lost Soul. But the funky thing about that is you can combine the Lost Soul's effects pretty wildly. So I'm going to send these 2 fellas here to rest. I'm going to fill up the arena later. I need to level up the Iratus statue next because I need more mana. That's something I realized lately. And for starters, we're going to use the Lost Soul in combination with a Lich, because I felt like this would be a fun and effective combination. So I'm starting to upgrade a few skills here. I want the Dubious Boon, definitely. Well, we're going to see. I only have 2 of them. I want to use the Lost Soul as a stress damage dealer, so I'm going to get 1 upgrade for the stress attack. I can either increase the damage or go for ward ignoring. I think I'm going to flat out increase the damage because I like that. And let's go for the Benevolent Spirit check. So here's less damage on the attack afterwards, and this is just a stronger heal. So I'm going to buff the Dubious Boon to reduce the debuff by 10%. And I'm going to set up some damage dealers. We want some basic good old damage dealers. How about the Wraith? He can't go for magic attacks from this spot, but I won't be needing that. Okay, we can use it like that. Wonderful. Okay, so I'm going to try a formation like this. Which will use the Lost Soul's Dubious Boon Benevolent Spirit combo, and I'm going to use the Dubious Boon to utilize the skill of the Lich a little bit better. So let's get to the next area. The boss fight is over there, so I would prefer to go this way. So we're going to go over this ancient coffin there. Oh, and I forgot to put people into the arena. Good thing I remembered that. Glutton's Tongue. At the start of battle, increase damage dealt by 0.1% for each available part in the chamber of Iratus. Okay. Ashes of a Burned Witch. Set enemies on fire for 2 turns when minion uses ability. Okay. A dot increase. And a Bane Aura. Well, I want the damage over time increase thing, because I feel like this should be quite good for some minions. And after that, we're going to train the lowest level units, for sure. Okay, so my minions have some XP available, or much more stat points. Alright, but there's nothing too amazing to level up here. So I'm going to level up some Dread and Attack here. some initiative, some vigor. It's costly, but I like to go for some vigor, and some resistances. There we go. Alright, let's check out what will happen next. We're having an elite berserker, 2 elite enemies on the Okay, well, let's hope everything will turn out fine. Berserkers are enemies I really respect. So there's a first Geomancer. I can't really remember how Geomancers did work. I only remember an AoE portion on their skills. Okay. So I'm going to use my Hail of Teeth on the Geomancer to strip the blocks. And I'm going to dominate Undead on the Headless and the Headhunter, just to give him some more smack. And I'm going to use the Enraging Boon. Yeah, and give him Ward. There we go. So now I have some damage decrease, but I'll also have some attack and dread bonus. I think it'll be quite okay. Next up will be some Spectral Fog for him, and then we're set. So, what we're going to do... I think I'll just focus down the Berserker here first. As quick as possible. Okay, some blocks are going well here. What's that buff? Or is there any buff? No, it's just defenses. There's some buff. Okay. So I'm going to use well, what I'm going to use... I don't want to attack their sanity at this point. I think I'm just going to put down some more wards on this guy here. Alright. Now the shrapnel doesn't mean anything anymore, because whatever hits him, if it hits him, it's going to get warded away, and if it doesn't hit him, the wards will stay there. So use the magic to get there, and now the downside of the Lich is just eliminated. I'm going to use the evolution skill here to get my Wraith a little bit more ahead there. Alright. So it's about time to use the ultimate of my Lost Soul once, I think. There's a lot of damage coming in here. I'm most concerned about this guy. Yeah. So, elite berserkers. My poor Lich. I set up everything so fine just for him. Well, let's return the favor. Okay. Well, that's a pity, but I can't change it. So I'm going to use the Benevolent Spirit here and heal him. And it doesn't matter, the attack of the Lost Soul doesn't really matter, because it's going to get warded away. Man, I'm really sad about losing that Lich, but well. In this game I already realized that some enemies are pumping out such insane amounts of burst damage that it's not that easy to save your minions every time. So Geomancers, as you can see, are dealing out a lot of damage there. Ah, he's buffed up. That's the problem there. So I'm going to use the Sudden Reality now to remove all those buffs on the enemy. Well, oh, I can't because it was warded. I didn't know that. Okay. So I really want to get rid of this guy here. I know that there was some ward in the way, but I have to start somewhere. Because the damage here is just too high at this point. So we're going to do that again. There we go. So there's not really much left of this guy here. Okay, we're going to use the Spectral Fog here and try to let this guy live a little bit longer. Okay. Use the Hail of Teeth to remove the blocks and keep smacking. I just hope that I'm able to save this guy here, but I'm not really taking any bets here. So... let's remove the buff here, the ward. And I'm going to use more fog here. I just want to keep my people alive, you know. Well, maybe that's the wrong way to put it. Keeping undead alive, you know. So next up will be the Alchemist. So I'm going to attack this guy and leave 1 HP. Seriously? Oh well. Sometimes you just get unlucky, I guess. Of course. Of course. Just with that last sliver of HP, they killed somebody. Oh. Whatever. It's quite a pity, but 2 elite enemies are sure a fight where I'm accepting losses. I'm getting 2 brains back, so that's not more. We're getting some parts back. I start to accept losses in this game more as something that just happens. You're getting so many parts throughout the game. I think that's speaking its own language. So, we're creating 1 lich here. And I'll rebuild another lich. Let's see if I have any good components for the guy. We sure have some good skull. No good dust though. But okay. So I think I'm going to use that level 5 brain before it turns old. So we're going to stick with the shrapnel build because I like that, honestly. Okay. And I'll need a new Lost Soul. I mean, the first Lost Soul was a present anyway, so I'm not going to be too sad here for too long. And there we go. And I definitely misplayed the attack skill of the Lost Soul here a little bit. But overall, I was quite happy with how the things worked out here. So, Misleading Beauty can be upgraded to AoE or a huge single target attack. I'm going to stick with the Hero Mania here. And we're going to use the Lost Soul now, not for a damage build, but instead for a stress-based build. So, let's get these guys some pause. And put these guys into the arena. Wonderful. Okay. So the next fight will be two elite fellas again. But luckily not so many berserkers anymore, so stress damage is an option. I don't see any traders there, so I can safely go for one of my favorite builds. So, no, we're not going for that one. Or do we? I wonder if I want to use the shade here. Nah. I don't feel like going for shade. I'm going for a very simple solution here. So with the Dark Knight and the Lost Soul, No Tomorrow is no longer a necessary upgrade. You can go for Dashed Hopes as well, which will react to buffs on the enemy side as well, so we're going to use that this time. And I'm going to upgrade the Dark Tithe event, I think. Or no, we're going to use the Stare into the Void here. More stress damage. Okay. Let's upgrade our Dark Knight a little bit. I want to check if I have any items here for them. So, I still have a Heart of Emptiness for the Dark Knight, which will give me mana whenever he gets a hit. So, Essence of Mind for this little guy here. So, what do we have here? Oh, some spell power increase. I do appreciate that. Well, I don't think I want to go for any of these skills. It's nothing I want to do right now. Okay, so let's increase some arbitrary skills here and there a little bit. Just some luck and evasion. I do like to increase those things a little bit on the side here. And we have a Punisher for movement. But, well, I don't really use movement skills that much right now, so I'm not going to stick with that one here. We're just going for a basic grappling hook there. Okay. Let's get into it. 2 elite enemies are quite scary, but we're scary. We're scarier, I guess. Okay. So an elite treasurer, an elite warrior, and the rest. There's a geomancer. Lots of blocks everywhere. Quite annoying. So we're going for the Stream of Delusion here, and start buffing our enemies' initiative here. It's quite a weird setup to buff your enemies, but with a Lost Soul, one good strategy is to consider which buffs hurt you the least, and then give them your enemies to turn them against them in the end of it. So there we go. The skeleton is also pretty good in combination with a healing skill of the Lost Soul, because the skeleton can go into a block stance, which insanely increases resistance. Thus, the attack from the Lost Soul during the next turn is not that devastating here. So I don't want these guys to be buffed, so I'm going to strip the buffs immediately from them. And that'll instantly increase my own minions with quite hefty values. We're having 8 attack. It's a lot. So let's use this Lake with Darkness here. And I'm going to go into the block stance there. Keep these up. And let's see what'll happen. So this guy went heroic because of the stress. Well, that happens. Can't change that. Keep in mind the sudden reality buffs of the Lost Soul are for the remainder of battle. So there we go. So we're going to give them another turn of buffs, which will turn against them. Initiative really doesn't hurt me too much, but it does trigger the skill of the Dark Knight. So things are working out quite fine at this point. I can go for a Shield Banger here. I have the freedom to do so for once at least. So I'll just stick with the stance here. Some more crescendo. And we're going for another turn of Sudden Reality. Strip off the buffs of the enemies and all their debuffs as well, but if we're having here... Well, I don't know how high the increases are at this point, but well, 46 to 48 damage. So we're already on a pretty sweet spot here. Let's use some more spells. I just stick with the AoE skills because they are giving me a higher chance of killing those guys right away. There we go. That's that. Armored Plates reduces damage received by 10%. Very nice for a tanky unit. Okay. So this, I think, shows off quite well that the skills of the Lost Soul sound quirky and weird in the first place. But you can turn those buffs so heavily against your enemies that you only need to be careful not giving your enemies exactly the stuff they need to beat you. So it requires some sort of knowledge over the enemies, that's for sure, but it's also very rewarding. Alright, so let's check the clock. Yeah, we have some time left. I'm going to upgrade Spooky Skeleton. Well, I can't give him more dread. Let's give him some more armor. Okay, I'm going to keep Spooky Skeleton in this formation, but we're going to use... Oh, well, I want to go... Oh, I really feel like going for this. Oh, well, next time. I don't have the possibilities yet. The Shade... I don't want to use the Shade this fight. I want to use the Mummy. Yeah, we're going to get along just fine. So, let's check what's in the box. I don't want that elite fight. Elite fights are scary. Pendant of Might, Vigor for all our guys. A random enemy loses luck, or all minions gain 15 accuracy and 15 damage removed when they take damage. Yeah, we're going for that Vigor Pendant. Where would I put that? Yeah. 10 HP for everybody sure sounds a lot better to me than just some initiative at the beginning of a fight. And let's go. So there's a Berserker up front again. Well, so possibly I'm going to kill this guy with physical damage first. I'm not sure yet. Okay, so he's starting to buff himself already. Alright. So we're going to drop down the Stream of Delusion to strip some wards and give buffs to people who are where it's not really important. So I'm going to drop down a Spectral Fog on the skeleton's spot. The skeleton might be not receptive for buffs, but the positive side there is you can drop traps on the spot of the skeleton, which will still have their effect. So I'm going to use Absorb Power here, which will remove all buffs from the enemies, because I really don't want the Berserker with his bonus stats here hammering on my peeps. I don't care. I don't really want that happening. So we're having here the Doom mark on our friend here. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Double damage is really scary. Good thing about Berserkers, sometimes their special attack gets on their own team as well. Alrighty. So, that destroyed the stance of my skeleton. Quite rude, eh? Well. I have come to the decision to destroy the Berserker with stress damage here as well. Because I'm able to strip him of all his buffs, so ultimately it's not that scary at all what he's doing there. Okay, so Misleading Beauty would do damage, but I don't want that. I'll just hammer in the Stream of Delusion. Okay, the Berserker is dead. That's good. So we're going to use Sudden Reality quite soon. Oh dear, there's so much damage on everybody right now. Okay. I'm going to pull this guy back. And I'm going to drop down some Spectral Fog. Get rid of a few people, that's also good. Okay, so this guy will act in 2 turns. So first off, I'm going to remove all the buffs on my enemies, and then we're going to use the Sudden Reality as well. I don't... Dang, that won't do anything. Okay. So let's go into the defense stance at least. And dish out the stress damage. Alright. We're doing just fine. The Oracle will now escape during the next turn, and that's that. Or she'll just die from a heart attack. Okay, that was quite a scary fight, gotta say. The synergy between the enemy units is quite big and quite effective. I do like that. Ooh, Void Pendant. Receiving a lot of spell power for me. Also not bad. Okay. So I'm now able to build a new level of the Abode of Wrath. Something I want to do as well. So let's craft a Headhunter real quick and do that. Because starting with more Wrath during each fight is very powerful as well. Oh, I don't have the Wrath. The Digger's Soul necessary for that. Okay. No problem. So this didn't work out as well as I wanted to, honestly. But maybe it was just the enemy's resilience being quite high. Okay, no elite enemies in the next team. That's quite good. So I wanted to do another funny thing here. Some sort of formation. Let's go for the Dark Knight here as well. And we're going to put into the... Am I going to put the Lost Soul into that? Yeah, because the Lost Soul is a buff stripper. Buff strippers are really important in general. So we can upgrade a new skill there. Misleading Beauty, Stream of Delusion. What can we do with the Stream of Delusion? More damage or giving them an extra escape chance? I'm going to increase the damage here. Okay. There we go. The elite of the well, let's rather do it like that. I won't use the Soprano of the Banshee so much. I'm going to use that skill much more. I'm going to force the enemy movement a little bit more. And single target damage. Okay. Let's try how good that'll work out. So this is a very susceptible combination of enemies towards stress damage, except for the Berserker. I don't have the mana for the blind here. Oh well, a pity. So, going to start with a Psychotic Stream here again. Okay. Going to strip the wards off here too. And now I'm going to into this stance here. And movement will get punished from there on. and buffing will get punished from there on. Oh, come on. Oh, that got warded away. Good. These oracles are really, really dangerous people. There we go. Psychotic Stream, triggering the Dark Knight. Ow! Oh, these guys. Alright. Let's keep up the stance here. Or much more the stances. And use the Terra Wave now. That's a random position swap for everybody, so a random all-together attack for everybody. That's working out quite nicely here. Ooh. Berserker is really giving me the creeps, though. Honestly. Okay, so these guys still have ward. I'll need to slake with darkness first, and then we're going to hit the sudden reality, strip them of all their buffs and debuffs, and we're having a lot more damage now. Okay, so all these guys are pretty roughed up here. I'm going to drop down some damage, stress damage over time here, and I'm going to yell a little bit more harder at the Berserker. I really don't want this guy to get another chance to wreck somebody up here. So these guys will be the next on in order. Wow. Ouch. That's a lot of damage though. Alright. So I have a few actions before everybody will act again, so start with a Slake with Darkness and another Terra Wave here. There we go. Yeah, they're all dying now. Wonderful. Okay, so I think this episode showed off how to use the Lost Soul quite well. It also showed off how to not use him as well during the first fight. I was not really happy with my performance there, but that's why I do the beginner series, to show you guys how to and how not to. You know, it also has its values. I'm doing those mistakes so you don't have to. So let's head over to the Cultists. Let's see what they have for me. The second slipper for the Banshee. The Banshee restores 20% vigor each time an enemy misses her. Nice. Lost Soul receives attack and dread for each debuff on enemies. One-time use of big spell power or one-time use of extra XP. So I'm going to go for the second slipper. Healing for the Banshee whenever she gets missed sounds good. Okay, so that's that. Sadly, I have no more minions to introduce for the next episode. We're going to need a few more items in between, but well, so next episode we're just going to proceed through the Dwarven Tunnels. That's 3 more fights until the boss. I think we're going to face a boss during the next episode, so feel free to drop me a comment down below. I would also wildly appreciate any support in form of likes, subscriptions to my channel, or shares of the video if you want to. I don't mind if you don't. Watching these videos means the most to me, so see you guys next time. Bye bye.